All right, so Dexter New Blood, first episode, watched it. Let's, you know, let's skip the recap and really get into like the origin story of Dexter.
Mm.
Not just what happened, but why. Like, what made Dexter Morgan a serial killer? Like, was he born that way, or is it something that happened to him?
Well, you know what's interesting right from the start is that opening scene, right?
Hmm.
Dexter's birth, and it's juxtaposed with this very graphic crime scene,
Hmm.
blood everywhere. It's not subtle, right? It's like the show is saying, this is Dexter's world, this world of
Right.
violence.
Like framed by violence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's almost like a Greek tragedy. Fate is like woven into his very existence.
Right. And it makes you think, like, if Dexter had been born into a different family, a different environment, could things have been different? Or was he always going to end up on this dark path?
Right. So we've got baby Dexter born amidst bloodshed. But even as a newborn, he's kind of
Yeah.
like off a little bit. He doesn't cry. He's not reacting the way you'd expect a newborn to. It's eerie.
Yeah. It's like he's already detached,
Right.
like disconnected from the world almost. And is that an early sign of the dark passenger? This inherent darkness that we hear about later on? Or is it the shock, the trauma of being born into such a violent situation?
Yeah.
What does that do to a developing mind?
And that detachment follows him through his childhood.
Yeah.
We see him as a teenager, withdrawn, isolated. He's got these dark urges he doesn't understand. And that scene at the science fair where, most kids are grossed out by the anatomy exhibit. He's fascinated.
Yeah, it goes beyond just morbid curiosity.
Right.
There's a real pull toward death, a fascination with the macabre. And it's here that we're introduced to Harry Dexter's adoptive father.
Mm.
And Harry's a seasoned detective, so he sees those dark impulses in Dexter. But his response is, well, it's complicated.
Yeah. It's like he's caught between wanting to protect Dexter and recognizing how dangerous he could be.
Right.
And that leads to the creation of the code, this twisted set of rules that allow Dexter to kill.
Yeah.
But only certain people, criminals who've escaped justice.
Think about that for a second. A father teaching his son how to kill cleanly, how to get away with murder. Is this truly an attempt at containment? Or is it this perverse form of mentorship?
It's not just talk. He takes Dexter on hunting trips, but not to hunt animals. He's teaching Dexter how to track, how to kill, how to dispose of a body. It's so disturbing because it takes this classic father-son activity and it just twists it into something truly sinister.
Yeah, makes you question everything you thought you knew about fatherhood, about the nature of good and evil. Is Harry trying to make the best of a bad situation, or is he creating a monster?
And then we have the pivotal moment. The first kill, Nurse Mary, believed to be euthanizing patients, becomes Dexter's first victim. This is where it all begins, right? The crossing of the line, from thought to action.
But it's not just about the act itself. You got to look at Dexter's reaction. Initially, there's satisfaction, almost like relief. But it's quickly followed by anxiety, by the weight of what he's done, It shows that even with this dark passenger, there's still a part of him that recognizes the gravity of taking a human life.
And he messes up the disposal, too. He doesn't follow Harry's rules to the letter. Is that just a rookie mistake? Or is it a sign that Dexter is already starting to deviate from the code, even at this early stage?
It's like watching a train start to go off the rails. You can see the potential for disaster, the possibility that things will spiral out of control.
And then, this jump forward in time, Dexter graduates high school. He gets accepted into the Miami Metro Police Department. He's going to be working alongside the very people he's deceiving. The irony is pretty thick.
Incredible. Right. He's embedding himself in the heart of the system. A wolf in sheep's clothing. But there's also this sense that Dexter, despite his darkness, craves connection. He tries to bond with his sister, Deb. He wants to be a part of something bigger than himself. It's a strange paradox.
It's almost tragic. He's this incredibly intelligent, capable guy.
Yeah.
But he's trapped by his own darkness. And it's clear from this first episode that this internal conflict, this battle between his dark urges and his desire for connection, is going to be a major driving force in his story.
Absolutely, yeah. It's almost like watching someone try to fit a square peg in a round hole, right? Dexter's constantly trying to act normal, blend in, but you can feel that underlying tension, that sense that he doesn't quite belong.
Yeah. You see it in that scene at Deb's volleyball game. He's trying to be supportive, but he's so awkward, so out of place.
Yeah.
Like he's observing human interaction from a distance rather than actually participating in it.
He's got all the right moves intellectually, but emotionally, he's a blank slate, and it's even more apparent at Miami Metro. He's surrounded by people. He's got this facade of charm and normalcy. But there's always that wall, that sense that he's holding something back.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the guy's leading a double life. He's a forensic analyst by day, serial killer by night. It's like he's compartmentalized his entire existence.
And yet there's this strange pull he feels towards his work. Like being around all that blood, all the evidence of violence, it both repels and fascinates him.
Right.
You can almost say he's addicted to it.
Which brings us to Harry, his heart attack. It's a turning point in the episode. He's forced to confront his own mortality, his own unhealthy habits. And it's interesting because we see a different side of Harry here, a flawed, vulnerable side.
Yeah, he's been preaching control and discipline to Dexter, but here he is, smoking, drinking, ignoring doctor's orders. It's like the episode is saying, hey, even the people who try to guide us to protect us, they're human. They make mistakes.
And those mistakes, they have consequences. With Harry hospitalized, Dexter takes on this role of protector. He sees Nurse Mary as a threat, not just to Harry, but to the other patients as well. And it's like he uses this as justification to finally embrace his darkness, to step over that line he's been straddling for so long.
Yeah, he's convincing himself he's doing the right thing, that he's saving lives, even though his methods are, well, let's say, unconventional.
And the way he goes about it, too. That scene where he's dissecting the frog in biology class,
Yeah.
it's so subtle, but so creepy in retrospect. Like it's foreshadowing his future obsession with dissecting human bodies, with understanding the inner workings of both the body and the mind.
The show is masterful at that kind of subtle storytelling. Every detail, every image is layered with meaning. It's not just shock value. It's about getting inside Dexter's head, understanding how he sees the world.
And when the kill finally happens, it's chilling. It's not a crime of passion. It's a calculated execution. He plans every step. He manipulates Nurse Mary. He even uses his knowledge of chemistry to make it look like an accident.
It's the birth of Dexter, the serial killer.
Yeah.
He's crossed the Rubicon. There's no going back. And what's fascinating is that he justifies it all to himself. He tells himself he's helping Nurse Mary's victims, ending their suffering. It's twisted logic, but it's how he makes peace with what he's done.
And that image of him feeding Nurse Mary's body to the alligators in the Everglades, it's so primal, so symbolic. It's like he's erasing all evidence of his crime. But he's also feeding this dark hunger inside himself, this insatiable need that can't be satisfied by ordinary means.
Yeah, it's a brilliant visual representation of his internal struggle. He's trying to maintain this veneer of normalcy, this clean-cut facade, but underneath it all, there's this darkness that's threatening to consume him.
And even though he's committed this horrific act, he still goes ahead and accepts the job at Miami Metro. It's like he's trying to hold on to some semblance of a normal life, even though he knows deep down he's crossed a line that can't be uncrossed.
This constant push and pull, isn't it? The light versus the dark, the desire for connection versus the need to isolate himself to protect his secret.
And that's what makes Dexter such a fascinating character to explore. He's a walking contradiction, a serial killer who craves love, who wants to be a part of something bigger than himself. It's unsettling, thought-provoking, and it keeps us glued to the screen.
Absolutely.
Wild, right? Episode ends, Dexter's graduating high school, this like symbol of adulthood, a fresh start.
Yeah.
But it's the same episode where he commits his first kill, fully embraces his dark side. It's talk about a mixed message.
It is a powerful juxtaposition. On the surface, you've got this image of hope. Potential Dexter's got his whole life ahead of him. But underneath, there's this chilling reality. He's already chosen a path of darkness, a path that's going to define him for years to come.
Makes you wonder, was this choice really his? Or was it inevitable? Given everything he's been through, the trauma of his childhood, Harry's influence, his own dark urges, did he ever really stand a chance?
Yeah, that's the age-old question, right? Nature versus nurture. We see those early signs of detachment, like fascination with death. But then you've got Harry actively shaping Dexter's worldview, teaching him how to channel that darkness, how to kill without getting caught. It's a twisted form of parenting, to say the least.
Yeah, and it's not just Dexter who's caught in this web, Deb. She's a victim, too, in a way. She's so close to him, but she's completely oblivious to his true nature. She sees him as a protector, a hero, even when his actions are clearly disturbing.
It's heartbreaking to watch because you see how much she loves him, how much she trusts him, but you also see how that love can blind you, how it can make you ignore those warning signs, even when they're right in front of your face.
Like she's living in a completely different reality, a reality where Dexter's the good guy, the one who's always there to protect her. And it makes you wonder, how long can that illusion last? How long before the truth comes crashing down?
The episode doesn't give us the answer, but it plants the seeds of doubt. We see those cracks in Dexter's facade, those moments where his dark side threatens to break through, and we know deep down this secret can't stay buried forever.
And that's what sets the stage for the entire series, right? This constant tension between Dexter's two lives, his desire for normalcy, for connection, and this undeniable urge to satisfy his dark passenger.
A battle that he'll be fighting for years to come. A battle that will have devastating consequences for everyone around him. And it all starts here, in this first episode where those seeds of darkness are sown, and the stage is set for a truly chilling and unforgettable journey.
So what can we take away from this deep dive into Dexter's origin story? I think, for me, it's a reminder that even the most seemingly normal people can have secrets, dark urges that they struggle to control.
And sometimes those urges can manifest in terrifying ways. Dexter's story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that the line between good and evil is often blurred, and that even those who believe they're doing the right thing can end up causing immense pain and suffering.
It's a complex, unsettling story, and it's one that definitely stays with you long after you've finished watching. It's been great taking this deep dive with you. Hope you'll join us again next week for another episode.
Absolutely.